Wow, what a finale. Yo, what's good to Bojo Reviews and heavy spoilers for Bleach 1000 Year Blood War Arc, Episode 12 and Episode 13, You've Been Warned. This two-parter finale left my mind blown with a lot of twists and really emotional scenes. The episode starts off with Ichigo's dad coming back to the Soul Society after the incident with Ichigo's mom, despite what Ishin did being a violation. The main captain dude still forgave him and he was still part of the Soul Society, but he purposely didn't talk about the whole incident with Mosaki. I feel like if he did mention this to Yamamoto, the Soul Society may look down upon him being saved by Quincy. We cut to Masaki thinking about Ishin. I didn't realize she was that young at the time when she first met Ishin. And then it cuts back to Ishin thinking about Masaki. We cut to Masaki and her school friends talking about the possibility of Masaki hooking up with her cousin. And then all of a sudden Masaki gets this dark aura just throbbing around her body. And she bumps into Uruhara Kisuke, and Kisuke senses that there's something off with this little girl. Rukin's mom is absolutely furious with the situation with Masaki. Rukin is furious with the handmaiden who snitched on Rukin's mom, but reveals all this was in good intention as Masaki's been tainted by the hollow, and as Rukin's about to explain the situation to his mom properly, Masaki falls over and collapses, and you get this hole just sort of embedded in her chest. It sort of reminded me of the hole Grimjo had back in the day. Rukin then leaves to try and take Masaki to his father. His mom screams out to him to not go, and then we cut to her legs and something major happened to this lady because she appears to look youngish, but when we cut to her legs, they appear all wrinkly and skeleton-like, almost like she's a decaying old lady or something. It looks like her legs also bruised. Did she get hurt by something or someone? It's really interesting seeing Rukin act the way he is now. In the present, the way he treats his son Uryu, he's so cold and just unloving to him, but this dude back in the day, he actually showed a lot of compassion, particularly towards Masaki, and was willing to do anything to help her. If anything, he was more like Uryu back in the day. Ishin saves Rukin from a hollow attacking him, and Rukin is just absolutely furious with Ishin. He feels like this is all his fault, and Uruhara Kisuke comes in to try and settle the boys down a little bit. We have this pretty creepy sequence of a naked Masaki just sort of floating in this dark abyss. And despite this place looking kind of spooky and creepy, she says to herself that she's not scared and she has a feeling that someone is waiting for her. Someone who needs her. And then we cut to this dark hollow mask, which resembles the mask Ichigo has. The way she's talking about the hollow mask is almost like she's pitying it. The white hollow that always appeared back in the day when Ichigo went berserk. Is that who she's talking about? Ishin and Rukin are first introduced to Uruhara Kisuke when they go back to his workshop, and he confirms that what Masaki is going through is hollification, the similar transformation that happened to the Vizards. Kisuke then does an exposition dump on how he can try and save Masaki. Since Masaki is a Quincy and she has the power of a hollow inside of her, what Kisuke needs is a human and a Soul Reaper combination, and he needs Ishin to get into the body of a Gigai, making him lose all his powers and him to never return to the Soul Society ever again. It's great that we're finally getting an explanation as to why Ishin is this powerful captain dude who's just stuck in the human world. Despite him not liking the idea of abandoning his previous life in the Soul Society, he's willing to do whatever it takes to help Masaki as she is the girl who saved his life. Rukin doesn't really say a whole lot. He was all talk before blaming Ishin for the injury on Masaki, but after Ishin said all this brave, bold things, willing to sacrifice his life in the Soul Society, I'm just wondering, is he slowly starting to gain respect towards Ishin? Ishin then goes into the same world as Masaki with the masked hollow and does the Getsuga Tensho, just like Ichigo? So do the two of them have the same Zanbakuto or something like that? We cut to Rukin sort of telling the handmaiden that he's going to leave, but the handmaiden does not want him to go. In fact, she's revealed that she's more or less fallen in love with Rukin. It then clicked to me that, oh, this lady is Uryu's mom. We have a montage sequence of Masaki leaving the Quincy household. She goes to college, she spends time with Ishin, they go to movies, dates, and she cries in a theater. You got some nice beautiful shots of Ishin just starting to fall in love with Masaki, calling her the sun in his life. But then we come to the main thing that I've really been curious about. Why and how did Ichigo's mom die. Apparently, she wasn't supposed to die that day. She was this exceptionally powerful Quincy lady with strong defensive powers. She could have easily defeated the Grand Fisher with one swoop attack. She lost her Quincy powers due to the selection process conducted by Yowatch. Yeah, the Quincy King is kind of a jerk and not a really nice dude, and I don't like him now. I mean, I didn't like him before, but now he's even worse. He deems those who are impure to be some sort of subpar Quincy people, so he takes their powers. He took away Misaki's power because I'm guessing she saved a Soul Reaper and got the power of a Hollow inside of her, but I don't get why he had to take away Uryu's mom's power. I don't quite remember her doing anything illegal or against the Quincy Order. In fact, she told Rukin's mom what happened, so you can say that she was quite loyal to the Quincy clan. So it just got me wondering, is there more to this lady that we just don't know? Yeah, this dude is the father of Quincy's, and every single Quincy that is alive now and that has been alive before all share the same blood, and that blood goes to a single coordinate, and that dude is the Quincy King. Upset at first, but now with strong resolve in his heart, Ichigo is ready to go back to the Soul Society, and this little girl poofs out of nowhere and takes him back to the Soul Society. He's back in the underground cavern with the Zanpakuto creator. He pretty much just walks past all these grayed out people. I think they're like representations of Zanpakutos. And he finally finds the one that's his, and they hold hands just like in the opening theme song. We then cut to Captain Hitsugaya. He then goes to the training barracks and pleads the master to retrain him as he lost his Bankai. And I love this moment where the captain kind of disrespects Tozen, and despite what Tozen did, him joining Aizen and all the stuff he did, the guy still respects him after all this time. I mean, the two of them did have a heart-to-heart moment with Kamamura back in the original Bleach series as Tozen was about to be executed by Aizen. We cut to the Department of Research and Development, and the people are wondering where on earth is their captain, and Mr. Akon reveals that he planted a security camera in his room. Kinda creepy, dude. Kinda creepy. And looks like the captain is working on some new experiment that looks kinda creepy. I love the scene with Soifon's lieutenant and his little sister. She wants to play ball, she does the waterworks, and the moment he agrees, she just stops crying. What a manipulator. And we cut to Soifon doing heavy press-ups on a series of rocks, and she is just dripping with sweat. And while Soifon was exercising, it got me wondering, where on earth is Catwoman, Yoruichi? We haven't seen her at all in this arc. Where has she been and what's she up to? Captain Komamura approaches his sensei, this gigantic dog dude. He needs to be retrained by him and to learn a new technique. The captain is not happy with Komamura because Komamura used to wear a mask to hide his true identity, and he was ashamed of who he was. And it looks like the two of them are about to duke it out. And then we cut to the final act of the episode where Ichigo's about to say goodbye to Zangetsu, and this final act sort of blew my mind. Old Man Zangetsu has played a pretty key role in Ichigo's sort of growth into becoming a strong Soul Reaper, training him. I was just baffled at myself as to how I just didn't even think to realize that Zangetsu and the Quincy King look identical. The thought didn't even cross my mind. And it's revealed that this dude is Ichigo's Quincy power in the form of Yowitch, the Quincy King. He then reveals that he is Yowitch and he isn't at the same time. I feel like he's some sort of shadow clone memory of Yowitch. Like it's a part of Yowitch, but it isn't the real him. He is his own self and not really Yowitch, although they do have the same face and the same blood. So Ichigo will have to eventually fight the Quincy King, which is Zangetsu. It's a bit confusing, but I kind of get the gist of it. He reveals that he didn't want Ichigo to get injured at all. That's why he kept suppressing the hollow power, but he wanted to watch what Ichigo would do and how he would grow. He acknowledges that he started to feel for Ichigo and want him to stay out of trouble and mayhem, but Ichigo has main character syndrome and he fades away into nothingness. Pretty sad moment. Ichigo says goodbye to Old Man Zangetsu. He reveals that all this time Ichigo has only been using a small fraction of his power and has now given Ichigo his true power. So I'm just wondering, how OP is this dude now? He acknowledges that both the White Hollow and the man who looks like Yowitch are both Zangetsu to him. He pretty much forms two Zanpakutos. In the past, Ichigo has always used the power of either Zangetsu or the White Hollow, or both of them at the same time. But now, as they're both fading into nothingness, he's going to use his own power. And I'm curious, what is Ichigo's true power? What is he like without the Hollow and without Zangetsu? I guess we're going to find out until July, but overall, these 2 episodes were pretty phenomenal. Just like last week's episode, I love seeing the flashback with Ishin and Masaki, how they got to know each other, Ishin's past. I feel like the writers know how to really write a Bleach backstory. The backstories in this show are always the strongest part of the series, in my opinion. And of course, like, the art and animation has just always been really consistent and amazing throughout this entire arc season. So I'm gonna give this episode finale a 10 out of 10 and an A star. It definitely deserved it. It really took me by surprise. I didn't expect the whole Zangetsu Quincy King ordeal. Even the whole Masaki situation was quite surprising as well. But we're gonna wait till July 2023 to see how this story is going to unfold, and as an anime only, I'm pretty hyped. But what did you think of Bleach's finale? Did you like it? Did you hate it? Like for more anime reactions, reviews, comparisons, breakdowns, rankings, and more. Board the review, signing out.